So welcome to today's podcast, where I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Kirk Phillip. Kirk, thank you very much for joining, and thank you for being very patient for waiting on me as well.
That's all right, mate.
But for anyone who doesn't know Kirk, Kirk is based between London, Thailand, and previously was known as the CRO guy and Convertica and doing all the CRO stuff, spoke at Chiang Mai, and is well known, certainly in that side of the world, but is regularly over in the UK and regularly kicking about at Brighton and various other conferences and stuff like that. And yeah, great guy, great knowledge, and I think I think you're one of those guys that lays underground, and people are like, "What is it you actually do?" And they don't really fully understand what you were previously doing with CRO and stuff. Yeah, so it's obviously good to have you on and talk a bit about where you were and obviously where you were going. So previously you were doing the CRO thing, Convertica and split test and everything, and you were the go-to guy for CRO with your experience and stuff. I've heard a lot of good things, and you work with some big clients, and obviously in your own projects as well. So I know you've changed focus slightly from that. So what is it you're doing these days?
Well, obviously, when you get to a certain scale, or you get to certain business size, like, can you name the CEO of ASA or ASIS or Compaq or anything? You can't, right? And that's been my business mentor has always told me that, it's great to be the face of a company up until a certain size. So up until about a year ago, we started to move me away from being the face. I'm still the face on the blog and everything, but in terms of me being the face for everything, talking on stage and everything like that, because then it limits your growth. So I've stepped more into director position in the last year. I'm sort of just working on the vision, setting up the direction of the company, making sure that the staff have the right, we have the right business culture. Because we're up to 25 staff this year. We've downsized to about 20 just because we've automated a lot of processes and so on. But I've hired a guy now who's going to be doing the conference circles. So we haven't publicly disclosed yet, but he's done a fair few already, and I'm going to be working with him on the first few. But then he's going to be taking over. He's much more of a showman than I am. So I can be a bit dry and a bit black and white. But he's a very good showman. He's done a few conferences before, so he'll be taking over and doing more of the conference trails. He'll be hitting every single one up and so on. But Convertica as a company is maturing into more of a company rather than just Kirk Phillip's company, So
yeah,
the direction I'm taking it.
It's good to hear that you're obviously refining that stuff as well, and working in company culture. I think a lot of people just scale too quick, and it's all about going from 25 to 50 to that, and they're not thinking smartly about maybe cutting back and, as you say, smartly automating things and stuff like that as well. Is certainly the way forward if you're wanting growth. I mean, what was the kind of reason for the kind of stepping back from the kind of conference thing? Is that just something that you felt? Was it just purely based on growth, or was that just something you felt like this is not for me as well?
It's never unlike yourself where it comes very natural to you. It's not something that my personality really thrives on. Like, I don't get a lot of fulfillment out of it for the amount of input that goes into it for me. So for me, it was, I just had my firstborn. So therefore it was more about spending more time with her and being able to develop that relationship and make sure that I'm there and all that sort of stuff, rather than just building the business for building the business sake. Because there's this like thing in the business culture where you just keep scaling, right? Why? Yeah. No one ever really questions why. It's like, countries grow, and if they stop growing, they're in a recession. So like, it's just built into us to always keep growing and using and growing. But for me, I read a book called Company of One and a few other similar books, which talks about strategically staying slow, so that you don't have a business that owns you and that like you end up having a job, because I've always been very good at building companies that provide a very good income and a very good lifestyle. And I did get away from that a bit with CRO guy and Convertica, but now it's got to a point now where it's back again and I'm still living a good lifestyle again. I pay my staff very well. And I have an operations partner who runs all the operations. So yeah, I don't take as much profit, but I work much less than I used to. So, and I strategically stay small. Like, we're not going to grow any more staff this year. We're just going to focus on bigger clients. So we want the same amount of clients, but bigger clients. We've got multiple 8-figure clients now, very big companies. So now we can work on just honing in those really big brands instead of the affiliate site type clients, which we still do, the bigger ones, but we're not so much working with them, which was our bread and butter back when we started the company, because that's where I had the name, right? But now it's more about big brands that have PPC, that have Facebook ads, that have all these different avenues of traffic, because updates affect our client base too. Like, clients will drop off when their site gets smashed. Obviously, they can't pay the bill anymore. So
yeah, it's probably a smart move. I think, obviously, having met you in several different places and stuff, you know, you are a guy that obviously likes getting out networking, chilling, going to learn and develop, and, you know, spend time at masterminds and stuff as well. So it's good to have that balance of not working so hard or being drowned, you know, because we've got mutual friends there. When there's sometimes masterminds on, they're like, listen, I'm way too busy, just because there's, you know, they're
exactly.
And I don't think that's healthy in terms of, you know, lifestyle or developing yourself as well, because you know yourself, so much value to be had. And even now, although you're working, you know, with crazy clients and stuff like that, you know, sometimes you're picking up small nuggets at these masterminds and implement it into your own business. And so I think it's obviously important to try and get that balance right. But obviously scaling up and delegation, for me, you know, I've had a business in the past where I grew an agency, and it kind of fell apart because I wouldn't delegate anything. I never trusted anyone enough to be able to say, you're in charge of this. You know, you're saying you've got an operations guy and stuff like that. You know, how would someone, you know, I mean, I'm not going down that route anymore. You know, I've been there and failed with it because I just wouldn't let go. I'm just that type of guy. I just didn't trust anyone. But for anyone else that finds himself similar to me, how do you, was that something you were easily able to just, you know, get an operations guy? You know, how do you find a good guy that you can rely on?
Well, I just know with my personality, I'm awful with operations. So I've always, as soon as I started, I've had probably 5 or 6 different companies since I've been in business since I was about 20, in about 15 years. And like, I've always, straight away when I start a new company, hire someone to do operations. My first company, or one of my first companies, was Jay, who's now partner at Leadspring. He was my first operations guy. So he was good. He was really diligent. He, you know, didn't make any mistakes, and I'm just really good at coming up with ideas and like hiring people and motivating people. I'm not good at doing the work. Like, I'm horrible. I'm sloppy. I forget things. My spelling is always crap, but I always just get things out and improve them over time. I never get them perfect, but that's, you know, that's how you have to be when you're an entrepreneur. You can improve them over time, but I'll get them out at like 50% instead of 80%, which sometimes, you know, but in CRO, you have to be perfect because everything needs to be perfect. So I have an operations partner who does, you know, who makes it perfect. Whereas, you know, I go to the masterminds, I get the nuggets, I integrate the systems and the thought and the culture into the company, and then they fulfill the product and the service.
A smart way to do it, and I think you have to realize your own strengths and weaknesses as well, which a lot of
which is hard. Yeah.
You know, as I say, I failed miserably setting up an agency, and I realized that was a weakness of mine because I was, you know, I don't know what I was, just control freak or whatever you want to call it, and that obviously hampered my growth, and in the end was the killer of the company because I had set myself up as the kind of face of it as well. So there's only so many hours in a day, and
well, you see it a lot. You see it a lot in the forums and the threads and so on. Like, everyone always puts shit on running an agency, including yourself. You know, it's always a good bit of banter and stuff. But like, people always say how agencies are awful and having clients are awful. Well, not if not if you do it correctly. We've got 3 support staff that are always round the clock. There's always someone on. I don't ever talk to clients ever. Yeah. So it's like it's great for us though, because everyone's scared of agencies and there's a stigma about agencies being bad and having clients. So there's much more clients for us to have then, because everyone's doing these affiliate sites. But like you weren't there at the conference in Chiang Mai conference this year, but everyone was saying how, I know Kyle Roof was saying how, guys, you need to think outside the square because all of you are competing in affiliate against each other and you're all using the same information. It's just like there's a limited pool of good niches. And being head of Convertica, I know that every single niche, exactly how much they make down to the dollar, because we work with all the best guys in every big niche. So we can see that, most people, they're not going to make a lot of money because a lot of these big niches making 100K to 500K a month, they're dumping 10, 20, 30,000 a month into links, Yeah. So like people, there's no way you're getting into, there's no way you're entering the top page for that, So
yeah, no, it's a hard game. But on CRO, I just wanted to touch a bit on it because I think a lot of people still don't really take it that serious. Just in my opinion, the people I talk to, I know a lot of the big guys have taken it seriously for years, and obviously you've dealt with them and you've worked with a lot of big people. But I think a lot of the small players, and I do a lot of training for guys and want to be affiliate marketers and stuff, and you talk to them about CRO and they're like, what? Like, what is that? And obviously I just wanted to touch on it with you being the CRO guy, and this is how ignorant it is. I remember we were in Brighton on your a couple of years back, I think it was on your rooftop terrace, and a guy came up to you and he said, so Kirk, yeah, I've seen you about, and what is it you actually do? And you're like, CRO, and he says like, but what else? And you're like, CRO. This guy just
he didn't think it was an industry type of thing. Oh, I remember that, the Scottish fella. Yeah. That's right.
And he's like, what? Like, that's it. And obviously it's a massive industry to people who know what the hell they're doing, but maybe for noobs or beginners, they don't really appreciate it or understand what the hell it is. And I think obviously they just think that you guys are maybe changing the colour of a button on, because Kirk woke up one day and thinks that the button should be red, that it's going to generate more sales. There's a lot more to CRO than than meets the eye. And what sort of other things, just for the general public listening, do CRO guys do to obviously increase conversions on a website? Because I know you're working with data, the software like VWO or whatever it's called, and there's a lot of testing and everything else that people maybe don't appreciate. So what sort of things generally goes on with CRO?
Probably the biggest thing that people miss, because everyone builds their websites on desktop, right? On their laptop or on a screen. No one builds a website on a phone. So what happens is, especially on lead gen sites, but even on affiliate sites, you have to be careful with Amazon because you can't take this, you have to be a bit flexible with it. But having a CTA or a call to action, whether it's, let's just say you have a roofing business and you want people to call and make a booking to use your roofing business, the one test that works every time and doubles conversions nearly, if they don't have it, is adding a click to call button that's floating on the bottom of the screen. Now, when you're on your phone, your thumb moves in that area, right?
Yeah.
But most people either put it at the top, the click to call, or they put it somewhere in the header, way up here. You need to put it in this region. So if you put a sticky click to call button that's floating on the bottom of your local lead gen site, that's visible at all times, you'll explode your conversions. If you don't have that already, that's a huge one. And then we go through and optimize for mobile, because 90% of websites we look at, even sites doing millions of dollars a year, aren't optimized for mobile. So we'll go through and run mobile specific tests, testing different call to actions and so on, and different layouts and stuff like that.
And I'm assuming with CRO, it's you work with people over a prolonged period of time. It's not like you just ring up you guys and say, I need some CRO, and you go in and do 2 hours worth of changes, boom, income dollars money. It's obviously something, small tweaks on a regular ongoing basis until the client's at a point where you go, I've increased your revenue by X, Y, or Z. that's how it works, right? So there's a prolonged period of time you would work closely with the client.
Yeah, it's like SEO, yeah.
Yeah. So is that something that's ongoing, or is it like a year? You know, how long does the CRO? I know the answer is going to be it depends on the size of the client. It's ongoing,
but because we've got, like, we get probably 15 to 20 leads per day on our website. We're starting to get a lot of leads coming through. So that allows us to pick and choose the clients we work with because we have such a high demand. So what we've done as of a month or two ago, all our campaigns are a minimum of 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And in about, I think, the end of first quarter, depending on our lead flow, I think we're making it a minimum of 6 months. So that limits the type of clients that can't afford the service, but it will also allow us to focus on clients that can afford our service, which is where you want to be, right? So yeah, 6 months, but we have some clients that have been with us 2 years now. Since I started the company, they have such big websites that it gives them ROI, and they see an upside for it, because even if they get a 2% win, even if we test 5 times and we lose every time, but then one test we get a 20% win, that could be $100,000 for them a month, because they're making millions of dollars a year. So for them, they just have us on a retainer. And then because we're running so many tests, I think we have 550 tests running at once right now. We can use all our insights from all our other tests, and then the team will go, oh man, this just worked really well on this site. And then we set it up and test it on their site. And then boom, if we get a big win, it's not just how much they're making, but if they're looking to exit at 5-10 mil in 6 to 8 to 12 months, that could add an extra couple of $100K to their bottom line. So we work with a lot of investment firms too that have a big portfolio of websites where that's all they care about. They don't care about how much it's making now. They're just looking for the exit and what it's going to get for their investors over time and stuff like that.
Yeah. So aside from CRO, it's always good to touch on the CRO. There's obviously a lot more to you now than just CRO. You're doing other stuff now. What other things are you doing, or what other services are you providing others with?
We're not providing. I've moved offline, so I'm starting to do some. I'm going into property pretty heavily right now. So in Thailand, there's a pretty underserviced Airbnb market in terms of Westerners owned, and everyone thinks that it's really difficult to buy in Thailand, but it's actually not if you have the right lawyers and everything. So I'm taking advantage of that. People think it's difficult, so then we can go in and. My wife speaks Chinese, so there's a huge Chinese market for Thailand and so on. And I've just been investing in property. I'll probably buy a couple more this year. And we've got housekeepers that run and manage them, and we're getting 15 to 20% ROI from property. So in the current state of the algorithm updates and everything, I'm not going near affiliate sites to reinvest my money right now, because it's just you see them all, like it's just one after the other. It is going. Of course, not all of them. But even the good ones that are pure white hat and real sites are getting hit too. So for that reason, I'm just going to go into property. And if you're getting 15 to 20% with property, you can't really complain. That's not that much behind an affiliate site, which will get you 40 or 50. But with that added risk, you're not going to have a property disappear. So. Yeah,
no, it's interesting you say that, because that was going to lead on to my next kind of, where I was going to lead the conversation to was, obviously you're doing CRO and you're working with the best, and obviously you've got all this data and you know how things basically work. And I was curious to know if you were going down the route of any revenue and money that you were making was investing that in digital assets. But it's nice to hear that you're maybe doing property. And for me, I'm doing the same kind of thing. Property, I do buy and sell, some lower end Amazon affiliate websites and stuff like that. But I think there's too much volatility, and even just getting right people and stuff like that. For me, I think a combination of different problems lead me to saying, put your money offline. In some cases, I'm not going to put everything offline. I still will buy and sell websites, but it's interesting to hear you say that.
But it's all, like, you have an SEO business, but for me, I used to have an SEO business, so it would be easy to buy affiliate sites and grow them and SEO them. I don't have an SEO business anymore. So for me to buy affiliate websites or buy lead gen websites and grow them means that it takes me away from Convertica, which is already going full steam. So it doesn't make any sense for me to start buying digital assets. I am looking at SaaS websites. But I mean, they're much more expensive. Like instead of spending, 100, 200K on one, I'll spend $500,000 or more on one and really get a really solid one that we can come in and CRO. I'm just waiting in the next couple of years. I'm in no rush, but I don't want to be 10 properties in and no other assets. You know what I mean? So I want to diversify a little bit into other stuff. But right now, just be patient. Who knows what's going to happen when the market downturn happens, if it ever happens. But I also want to be there an opportunity to have cash when there is a lot of opportunity, when people are selling for really low multiples and so on, because it does happen. I picked up one site years ago that I picked it up for $5,000 and it ended up making 20, or a niche, we ended up duplicating the site and ended up making 20, 25K a month. It's used to swing between. So that was like the opportunity, once in a lifetime opportunity. That ended up setting me up for the rest of my life because I was able to reinvest that money and go into other things. So yeah, patience. It's not always about having the yield, It's just sitting in cash and just wait.
And one thing I want to ask you, obviously I need social proof, if you like. So I've been at a few events and I've been talking about buying and selling Amazon websites, which I've been doing over the past year. And I've been at a few conferences where I've said, and I've done it with a real low-end case study. So I bought this golf website for $10,000 and built it up and added content to it, took it from $200 a month up to $1,500 a month, and was trying the presentation I was trying to give was you can take something, invest $10,000, spend $5,000 on it, in terms of content and some links, and you can double, treble the revenue. And people are like, Craig, there's no way you spent $10,000 on an Amazon website, and there's no way that you can scale up, an affiliate business and stuff like that. People think it's pie in the sky, but obviously you're working. That's a Mickey Mouse figure when I'm talking to you, because you're working with guys who, won't bat an eyelid at spending $200,000 on a website. But I just want you to verify for some of the listeners out there, because a lot of the kind of listeners I've got are guys that are the lower end of the scale. They don't believe that you can actually buy and sell websites for millions of pounds, or do CRO and maybe be earning $2,000 a month and you do some CRO and it takes them to $5,000 a month. People think that's bullshit. What do you face that in terms of the people you're selling to, or do people just know? Is your clientele just guys that know that this is not bullshit?
Yeah, because so CRO is only for the top 10%. So if you're making under $10,000 a month, we've just started offering what's called a best practices package, which means we just go in and rebuild your website to the best practices. We just do that for sites that make less than $10,000 that have under $20,000 a month traffic. Like that's something we offer. We get 4 or 5 clients a month like that. It's not our main offering, but it's just very easy for us. We just look at other sites that are in the niche that have performed well and we roll out similar layouts to them. But then, there's the bigger guys that, exactly like you said, they've dumped 10K and they don't even think about it because they know if they get a 5% swing, it's going to mean a lot to them. We don't really deal with naysayers and so on. We're not trying to convince anyone because it's only that top 10% that are our clients. It's a little bit different to SEO where there's a million SEOs.
Yeah.
I only met one guy last year at the Chiang Mai conference that was doing CRO. I mean, I talked to a lot of people. I didn't even go to any of the talks. I stood in the hallways with a brutal hangover, as you do, all day long and just chatted to people. So I was networking more than most, and I only met one other guy. And it was great. Like I talk to them all the time now. I want to create a group of CRO guys so we can all bounce off each other, like SEO, right? Like you can share the ideas with everyone, and you're not going to compete because there's a million niches to go in. But it feels like with CRO that it's like when I first started doing SEO in 2007, there was no one doing it.
Yeah.
And there's still no one doing it now with CRO, but it also takes a different type of personality. I don't know. I still like building. The one thing that's been different with me is like, there's one thing to know CRO, but to build a team and take on, like we have 70 clients at one time. That's a different skill set. I can teach someone how to do it. Like I have a course that I teach people how to do it. I've shut it down now, but most people would, get 3 or 4 clients on retainer. They make 10K a month, happy days. It's all good. They're doing everything, But to grow a team is different. I've got a business coach, and I've had a lot of education in terms of how to build teams and grow a company and so on. And I have Mads as my consultant. I get on calls with him 2-3 times a year to help structure the company. So that's a little bit different in that sense too. I got a bit of a tangent there, but the fact is it's not the same as SEO, where you're going up to Billy Blogs Plumbing and trying to flog him SEO for $500 a month or whatever. It's a little bit different. I'm not saying you do that, but I know a lot of people that do that, and that's where you get the pushback on SEO and what it actually is, and the belief that you can bump 10K into content and nothing happens, right? Because it's just a different world, mate. It's easy for us to talk about this stuff because all our friends are in this too, so we all like have this reinforcing belief in what we do. But as soon as you step out of it and explain to anyone what you do, your parents or whatever, they think you're selling drugs. That's it. They're like, yeah, whatever, you're selling drugs. Yeah, whatever. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, no, I've had the drug dealer. It doesn't help with the tattoos and the Scottish accent and the hat and all that stuff. I probably fit.
Oh, the hat makes us seem like, oh, when you got it pulled over like that,
yeah. Obviously, but yeah, it's just weird when you get as you say, naysayers, and I think there's lots of them out there. But I was curious to know. But you've hit the nail on the head. 10% of your audience, or you're only looking for 10%, and you're not interested in any of the naysayers anyway. So it makes total sense. So in terms of going forward, if anyone was ever to try and get a hold of you for services, is it still just CRO and high-end clients, or is there anything else in the pipeline that we can send your way when people are looking for things?
Yeah, so we've tried a few different offerings. I had a course that I ran for 6 months, and it was cool doing it, but it took me away from our main offering. And then as soon as I shut that down and started focusing on our main offering again, we blew up a lot. So it was like we just do best practices and done for you CRO. Yeah, the done for you CRO is if you've got 20K a month to $1 million a month or higher. Traffic. So you have an authority website. If you make above 10K a month on your website, then it makes sense because we can run split tests, and then you can also it also makes sense from an ROI perspective. You don't want to be waiting 6 to 12 months to get your money back from the CRO, unless you're looking to sell. But most people don't want to wait that long. So yeah, that's all we focus on at the moment.
And the best website to get a hold of you is Convertica.
Convertica.org.
CRO guy as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to CROguy.com, you'll just get 301 to Convertica.org. So it's probably the same shit.
Either way.
Yeah, and on the homepage, it outlines our offering. You can submit your website to get a free audit where we go through, and our team will actually go through and outline a strategy that we think will work well in terms of what we would split test. Some people take that and go awesome, and then just run off and take it. But the fact is, these are just ideas to split test. We don't know if they're going to work, but based off what's worked on other similar sites, that's what we show. And then, yeah, it has pricing and everything because every site's custom. So yeah, that's how it works.
One question I've got for any of those people out there who are thinking about CRO and are not too sure if they want it yet or whatever, and they meet the criteria that you're looking for, just to give them that nudge over the edge. So you're using software and you're doing all this testing, but you're also using hordes of data on really successful websites that you guys have worked on as well. So just to reiterate, it's not guesswork you guys do. You literally have all of these clients and stuff like that you're working with. Is there anything else that you would say to when people are thinking about it and they're going, I don't know, as I say, there's a misconception that and this is a misconception maybe that I've just had in my head previously about CRO. I once listened to a guy and asked him, what data are you using to make those decisions on those changes? And he's like, I just try shit out and do this, that, and the next thing. And I'm like, fuck, that sounds like hell. That's just a guy waking up, making changes. But you guys are using various different tools, software, and previous historic data.
So we have a very high success rate for the first test, because when we get a site in, let's just say it's your agency website. We would get that in and then look at all of the other agency websites that we've worked on, SEO agencies, right? For instance, you don't have an agency anymore, but I'm just using it as an example. And then we would go, okay, well, what lead gen type website, how did it go? What are the tests? And we look at, the last 8 tests that we ran, and then we go, this one has the highest chance of winning. And we have an algorithm that we use, like a spreadsheet that we use to order the tests up based off what's worked well in the past. Yeah. So, and then we split test it. So split testing is the data. So we split test the original versus what we think is going to work better. And then we see the original had 100 submissions on your lead capture, and our variation had 150. Boom, we got a 50% increase. And then we roll it out, and then we do the second test and so on. So it's all data. We don't do any changes unless we split test it.
Good stuff. No, it's interesting. As I say, just for the viewers out there, I just wanted to clarify that bit, that there is testing and data.
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah.
I think there are CRO guys out there that I've stumbled across. I think you're probably one of the only ones that I know that do it on a regular, ongoing basis. I've seen a few guys at some shitty local little meetups.
Yeah, they flop on the side of their SEO business or whatever to value add. Or I just had a client come to me yesterday saying they've been paying some guy $500 a month for the last 4 months or something to do CRO. He's an SEO guy, but he just upsold them, I guess. And nothing's been done, because of that. But it happens with SEOs too. They get them on a retainer, they get one big win, and then they just keep the recurring subscription going and then don't do anything else. You see it all the time. So
yeah, it's a shit show of an industry, but there are guys out there and guys that are doing real SEO and real CRO as well, and obviously yourself. As I say, we've got a lot of mutual friends and heard lots of good things about you. And as I say, loads of people will probably know who you are anyway. They kind of doolies and everything else. You're well known within the circles, but I think some of the audience here will be like, "What the hell is CRO and stuff?" So Kurt is that guy, the go-to guy for CRO. What's your plans going forward? Are you still 6 months in Thailand, 6 months in the UK? Is that still?
No, we're just about to move over to Australia for half of next year, and then just to be with family with the newborn, and then back to Asia for the rest of the year. So we'll be in Bali for 6 months, but 3 to 6 months, and then back to Thailand at the end for the conference season for 3 months or so.
So no Brighton SEO for you this year?
No, I'll just miss it. It's only normally one night on the piss before Brighton SEO. None of us go to the conference, so it's I've done it enough with you guys where I've ticked that box. It's not that. I would go if I was here for sure, but I'm not going to come back for it or anything. So
one night in the pit. I'm sure over the course of the year anyway, people will be bumping into you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Conferences, including mine, whatever.
I'll do all the ones in Asia. I'll do the DMSS in Bali. I'll do Chiang Mai SEO. I'll probably do Affiliate World Asia and all that stuff this year because I'll be there. But I'll be there with my new guy that's going to be the face of the on-stage guy. So going to train him up and everything. So
no tips. Someone we mutually know. Would I know of this guy you've got?
Possibly, yeah. He's been at a few of the cons, but we'll make the big reveal soon and so on. But I think he's going to be a good addition to the company because I just don't have the energy to get up on stage 4 or 5 times a month. So as you do,
that's all I'm good at. I've got to make the most of it. And that's debatable as well. But thank you very much for coming on, Kurt, and sharing a bit about what you do. And a bit about how you do these changes and a bit about everything else as well. And good luck with the new speaker and good luck with the new baby. Hopefully you can do some CRO and get the baby into a routine quicker than
exactly.
I have, because mine's still giving me sleepless nights. But
well, he's just about to hit that. He's just about to hit that the terrible age, right, when they're running around and everything. So.
Yeah, he is literally it's imminent. Like he can't walk yet, but I think once he walks, all hell is going to break loose. And
exactly.
the house is going to be upside down. So another year of stress, but hey ho, it's all good fun.
It's all worth it. Yeah, exactly.
But as I say, thanks again anyway, Kirk, for coming on.
My pleasure.
I will catch up with you soon.
All right, mate. Cheers. Have a good one.